Last night, wildly entertaining game. Portland had it and lost it. And Steven Jackson is, of course, joining me. 14 NBA seasons, 4 Warriors, 3 Spurs, 4 Spurs, some Pacers, some Bobcats, some, who cares, rest. Now, let's get into this. You got a big ring there. I was talking about this. I'm not anti-three ball. I'm not. But these are athletes, not slide rulers. And last night, late in the game, Golden State didn't shoot a ton of threes. They went and got buckets. Portland, with a lead, just kept firing up threes. And slowly, the champions just got a bucket. And it's fascinating. I call them manalytics. Men, late in games, get buckets. Yes. I don't care about the math. I think math works over an 82-game season. But I'm watching that game at the end, and I love watching Golden State. They're so smart. When you were playing for the Warriors, take me inside the way the mind works of this, because everybody thinks they're just a bunch of three-ball shooters. They were 8th in the league, and that's with Steph, Clay, and Durant. They were 8th. Analytically, they were 17th compared to Houston 1. Take me inside the brain power of that. Well,
the good thing is easy for me because you have to have that dominant player that's at an even kill at all times, that doesn't get rattled. That's Steph Curry.
And you played with Duncan and Steph.
Yes, and that's what the similarities they have. When you see KD and Draymond arguing, or when you see Draymond mad because he didn't get it past something, you never see Clay in that mix. You never see Steph in that mix. He's always the one on the side at an even kill, focused on the game, ready to make the next play, trying to keep everybody else focused and not really getting involved into the nonsense on the court. You need a guy like that. Now, it's very few teams that have a player and the MVP, when you lose a guy like KD, that he can fill KD's role and still play his own role. Without KD in the game, Steph has become the closer. So he's closing now. He's not only making big shots, but he's closing the game. And he's also making plays as we look at now. He's made plays to win games. No team has a player that can be that guy when KD's off the court or be that guy when KD's on the court. Now, let me say this, too. Steph has more in his game than James Harden. James is a great scorer. He can't shoot mid-range. Steph can shoot mid-range. He can shoot threes. He can make plays. He can do it all. And people don't give Steph his props like he's not top 4, top 5 player in the league. After these last 2 games, I think people should start switching to see why people praise him like they do.
So Daryl Morey was talking about James Harden, calling him the best player in the game when you have one of the top 2 players. And my takeaway is you can knock a lot of guys out in the boxing game. Got to have a belt at least once,
right,
or you're not in the conversation. Right. You're just one of those guys that won an MVP, one of those guys that knock people out.
Right.
You can have the biggest, pay-per-view numbers can be through. If you don't hold a belt at some point, you're not in the conversation with Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You're just...
This is one thing about players, okay? And I'm gonna make a lot of people understand this. Everybody in the NBA makes money. Everybody has the same cars, same jewelry, same clothes, same everything, same house, it's just in a different state. It's just built by a different guy. Everybody has the same jewelry, it's just from a different jeweler, right? What separates you is being the best in the world, because everybody can't say that. So for James, you're going to be a great scorer. You're going to be somebody that's dominated regular season, but you're not going to be one of the best players because you're not winning. The best players to me in this league, Steph Curry, KD, LeBron, Kawhi. These guys are champions. LeBron went to the finals 8 straight times. That's being great. That's being one of the best. So players, the best reward is to be able to say at the end of the season that I was the best in the world. And until you do that, then the players don't look at you the same.
If Charles Barkley wasn't so funny on television, because Charles Barkley to me is one of the greatest players I've ever seen. He could score low.
Yep.
He could score outside. He could score in transition. There's about 7 guys in league history that could do that.
He's what Zion should look to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, Charles was amazing. But if he wasn't great on TV and just golf now, we would never talk about Charles Barkley.
I agree.
And by the way, that's the Harden. And Harden's not going to be as great on TV as Barkley. Barkley's made himself relevant, but he would be much less relevant if it wasn't for the fact he has a huge, funny, giving, loving personality.
And Karl Malone.
Where's Karl Malone now?
Right.
And he was the second leading scorer of all
time.
And we don't talk about Karl Malone.
We don't talk about him at all because he didn't win. John Stockton, assist leader. We don't talk about him because he's never won. What do you play the game for? Are you playing for money? Of course, you can take care of your family. But you play to win. You play to be a champion. The narrative has changed of why people play basketball, and it's not the same. And I think more players these days are interested in what the game can do for them than actually love the game and care about being a champion.
I feel Steph Curry does.
He wants to be the best ever.
You know, it's interesting. If you think about, let's think about right now the dynasties in our life. New England led by Brady, Spurs led by Duncan, Warriors led by Steph, at least emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Brady, Duncan, Steph.
Yes.
No nonsense, not big emotion.
Coachable.
All coachable. And this is what I tell the Baker Mayfields of the world. Dude, all this grabbing your stuff, that's not what endures.
Right.
If like, Stephen, you just said this. When the fit hits the shan, when everything's going sideways, when Draymond's fighting, Duncan, Brady, Steph, they're like Russell Wilson's got this in Seattle.
Yes.
The cooler.
Yes.
They just bring the temperature in the room down. Like, I don't think players get. Because, by the way, I want Draymond on my team. I need a fighter.
But see, guys like me and Draymond, we know we're not Tim Duncan and Steph Curry. We're not even trying to be that. But we need a Steph Curry and Tim Duncan on the side of us to make us have the best careers because they know how to pull us back and let us be us when it needs to be.
So you knew when you were playing for Golden State or the Spurs that you had the kind of personality that you could be lit. You had a fuse, and you were aware of that.
And I used it to my advantage a lot because, to be honest, I started a lot of stuff. I've never been in any fights in games besides the brawl, of course, but in the game, I've never been in a fight. 2 reasons. One, they knew I was going to fight, but they didn't want to lose no money. But 2, I knew that if I pushed that line, that 9 out of 10 of the guys in the NBA would back down. And they did. And I used that to my advantage. So I came into a lot of games with that edge of the attitude where either I'm going to win the game or I'm going to win the fight. And that's the attitude I had every night. And guys wasn't willing to go there every night.
By the way, there's a lot of rumors, KD and Kyrie and Kawhi, and it's just ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I mean, I love it. It's a soap opera. If I said to you, take all these free agent guys, Jimmy Butler, this, there's a million rumors.
Right.
I just want one. Which one do you feel safest about will happen? Of all the rumors guys moving, if I said, Steve, one.
KD. I think KD's staying.
That's your strongest. Even after what you're watching right now?
I think KD's staying. KD's not bothered that they're winning.
You don't think so?
The Game 6, you see he posted the picture celebrating at home. He didn't have to post that. If he was bitter, he wouldn't have posted that. Game 2 against Portland. Whitlock said something. Why he didn't post him after Game 1? Well, Whitlock, I hope you're looking. He was at the game, congratulating the team, running down, coming back to the locker room after a big win. He's not worried about that. This is the main reason why. When he comes back, he has the opportunity to be a 3-time champion with 3 MVPs. Only person done that is Jordan, 3 times in a row. He has, at the end of the season, you know the bag he's getting? He's going to get a big bag with a lot of blue strips in it, okay? He's not worrying about nothing. And at the same time, while I'm not playing, while I'm thinking about this big contract and this championship that I'm about to play in, y'all talking about me and I'm not even playing. He's not worried about nothing. He's still in everybody's mouth and he's on the sideline. That's how I want to be. I don't have to be around for you to talk about me. But one thing about it, they're not a championship team today without KD. Yeah, 5 years ago they were. But this is the same team that was up 3-1 and lost to LeBron.
Well, this team also didn't have the bench. I think short term, I said this earlier, you could argue they're more fun and they cut and pass better.
Yes.
But over time, when you have the world's best chef.
You need that big dog.
For long term. I always said this. I always had this theory. I'm not smart, but I'm smart enough. You could put me, I could run Apple, the company.
You first team common sense. We both on first team all common sense.
We are.
Yes.
Okay, I am the shooting guard. You're the power. No, you're the 3 guard.
Yeah, I'm a 3.
You get fights. I just skate around.
I got you back.
Okay, so I'm smart enough. You could put me into a company, and I could run it for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just common sense stuff.
Right.
But over 6 months, I'd ruin Apple, and over 6 years, I'd devastate it. Is that you can win 6 games without KD.
Yes.
And for 6 weeks, you can bail water. But over the course of 6 months, he is a finisher.
The most efficient.
And Steph's gonna miss 3 games, and Klay gets sick, and Draymond goes into a 3-week slump.
Steph has an ankle problem,
and KD's there, and he's the finisher. So you can. There's a lot of times Nick Foles short term won a Super Bowl for Philadelphia. Over the course of 10 years, Carson Wentz is going to win more games.
Nick Foles is KD in Philadelphia, though.
Well, no, because KD's an all-time player. Nick Foles is so-so. KD's all-time stuff. Nick Foles is okay.
Well, he played like KD in those Super Bowls. He played
great.
big. Yeah.
But historically, we all know that over the course of time, you just want more good players in the locker room.
Right.
But you can do a lot of things in life short term without a superstar.
Right.
You can do a lot of stuff. Stephen Jackson, veteran newsman John Goulet.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
So, Colin, it's pretty clear the Pelicans would prefer not to trade Anthony Davis to the Lakers because, they believe the Lakers kind of manipulated the situation, got him to force a trade, didn't want to deal with him. However, the Pelicans' hatred of the Lakers may actually be stronger than we thought.
What?
This is according to ESPN's Jackie McMullen, so a very reliable source. Apparently, Gail Benson may have put her foot down about this, the owner of the Pelicans. Jackie McMullen said this: "We've been told, I think, through channels, most of us have heard the same scuttlebutt, that Gail Benson has basically told him, David Griffin, to the Lakers over my dead body."
Now, this is what we said 3 days ago, and there was a lot of pushback from NBA sources that David Griffin has a free reign. Gail Benson